I'm Paul McLean, and I'm with the Fine Arts team at the Georgia Department of Education. And I'm here with,
Dana Munson. I'm s- and I'm a part of the digital media and literacy team. We work with a lot of educational technology, and we do support Georgia Home Classroom, which is a part of GPB Education and Godot.
as I mentioned, I'm part of a larger team. We are a team of three for Fine Arts for Georgia. Jessica Booth is our program manager, and Casey Hall is another specialist. We offer lots of supports for teachers and district leaders for fine arts across the state, including our Fine Arts Diploma Seals, the Arts Integration Awards, Rural Start Grants for starting arts programs in rural areas, Fine Arts Professional Learning webinars, as well as online courses through Georgia Learns. And we now have a new arts data dashboard as well, so you can compare and look at what one district has for arts in Georgia with others. And then also our Fine Arts Professional Learning communities. We'll talk about communities a little bit later in this presentation. And last but not least, our Fine Arts instructional resources, of which Velocity is a part.
So today we're going to do what is velocity in case you don't know what it is. We're going to show you some examples. We're going to have one full lesson plan and then also show you some shorter activities. Then we're going to give you an opportunity to build your own. And then we'll talk again just a little bit about how to connect through community. Um, Georgia Connects is our hub for all things Godot. Um, at Georgia Connects, you can find Georgia Learns. That's our professional learning platform. You can find the Godot Suitcase, which is all of the curriculum, all of the Georgia standards curriculum from all of our courses. And then there's Godot Inspire, which is a collaboration between Common Good Learning Tools and Godot. We have presented this before. We've had some people to ask just to see in general how much you know about velocity, and it's been not as many people know about it, and they set some goals, and so we're going to kind of go with their goals for our recorded webinar today. And most of people want to know what is velocity, so we will talk about that, and then how can velocity help me teach? And then we're going to touch on the last two as well, how to create your own and then how to find them. So here's a quick video just about interactive learning with velocity.
Content interactions allow teachers to upload text, images, video, and hyperlinks as student learning interactions. These interaction activities apply cognitive scientific principles that help students generate answers to prompts as they read or watch content. The best part is they receive immediate feedback to maximize their learning focus. Interactive questions allow teachers to embed questions during direct instruction or as guided practice. These questions lead students to arrive at the correct answer and receive immediate feedback for learning related to the activity goals or standards.
So let's just show you a few of the short learning activities you can find, velocity activities. These are social studies activities. They are a pilot content team who's really have been working with Velocity longer than all the others. And so these are smaller activities that are great for building content knowledge. So let's take a look at a few. So this is landforms, and I'm putting my name quick. We'll just click this arrow. It always takes you where you want to go. Most students would go all the way to the bottom and see the blue arrow and not read and go forward. And Velocity is going to tell you, go back and keep reading, which is really nice. But I know a lot of kids will go, I'm done reading. But what Velocity really does is it allows you as an educator to highlight the key words within a reading passage, and it makes the students go back and fill in the blanks. And it's based on cognitive science that tells us that if you have to fill in these words, you are much more likely to recall them later, which is a great tool for getting our students to slow down their reading and to recall things better later. So keep following my orange arrow, and it tells me now I'm going to have to answer a question. So this is another great feature that I really like about Velocity. One thing, they've got an answer here that says, I'm not sure. And that's one of the coolest things, because even if a student is not sure, they're going to get awarded a star. And that's important because a lot of times kids just feel like a failure right off the bat if they don't know the answer. And then Velocity comes back and helps them fill in the blank on the correct answer. So kids start associating the correct answer with that information immediately instead of waiting for you later to give them the feedback. If a student makes an association with incorrect information, it's so much harder for a teacher to go back and help them relearn that. And there it is right there is the correct answer. And as a student, I didn't get all of them, but I still got some stars. And that's one of the ways that Velocity gamifies education and these learning activities for our students. So once more, I'll do that. So I'm not sure. And I'll hit that and it says fill in the blank. And now I've learned that it is a valley.
I think another thing to point out about this particular task is a lot of people have been looking at those answers and you'll see blank A-L-L-E-Y, and obviously the other letters can't make anything, but valley is there. And it's not a matter of it being a really difficult practice. It's just about stopping and taking the time and having to go through that process. That's what the science is about.
Let me pull up Inspire for us real quick.
So we've just gotten to Inspire here by going online and essentially Googling Godot Inspire, which is a great way to have access to it. Although it is advised to go to Inspire through your SLDS system. If you want to have all of the functions of Inspire, SLDS is really the way to go. Now, because every district gets to SLDS differently, it's a little hard to show you screenshots of that, but typically it will be the same area where you're going to find TEKS or any of the attendance or things like that for your particular district. And then it will say Georgia Connects Preview right in the corner. While it says preview and will be a flashing light, it is no longer a preview. It is actually functioning fully right now. And that'll take you to Georgia Connects, which we mentioned earlier is now the new one-stop shop for all things Godot. And you'll notice here the icons that relate to Suitcase, as well as Georgia Insights, and many other areas that you can explore. But for our purposes right now, we are going to look at Inspire.
Thanks. Exactly right. And this is, we're going to share this with you in just a few minutes, how you can subscribe to this collection. But for now, I just wanted to show you the Velocity activities. So these are the shorter Velocity activities from our social studies team. And then I'm going to click on this one that you created, correct, Paul? You want to talk about the one you created? All right.
So we actually took our resources that we had developed for arts integration, and we decided to take an arts integration lesson and turn that into a Velocity activity. Now, most of our resources are teacher facing, but the Velocity activity is actually student facing. In this particular one, it is a 7th grade lesson plan about using tableaus as well as poetry analysis. So not only is it arts integration, but it also happens to be literacy focused, and that is absolutely something people are clamoring for when we ask our district leaders and teachers what they want right now. So it starts off down at the bottom with what is Tableau, and then the psychological gesture for the actor and engaging with the text. So each of these are actually different aspects of the lesson. They're their own little lesson plans within the larger unit. So this is a full unit for this lesson plan that a student can walk through on their own and engage with the text, both using Velocity and a couple of other physical activities that they would then submit their activities for review on the platform.
And I'm going to just show you something really quick. It does allow you to shift the language in Velocity activities to one of these 5 languages. If it's an image with English on it, it's not going to change it. But think about being a student in a class who doesn't have English as a first language, and how awesome this would be to be able to put parts of this in their language and make this so much a richer learning experience for them. So I'll click on the arrow and shall we go
So the
ahead and, oh,
first section of this particular lesson plan is bringing in an outside video that sort of goes over what Tableau is. So this is the Alliance Theater Institute's explanation of what a Tableau is and how it functions. This was a series they developed during the pandemic, and it's been really handy to have those things as a quick go-to. So this is an opportunity for students to engage with a professional theater company that is Georgia grown and be able to see the lesson about what the Tableau is to start with, and that's what this is. You
and
can just sort of see it beginning there, but we're not going to go through the whole thing. And once the video is over, you get stars at the bottom there, you'll notice, for getting the benchmark. So by watching through, you get a new star for each thing. And again, that part of that gamifying the learning experience, it also helps the student track where they are in the process.
And I'm just going to say, when a video is in Velocity this way, you notice no matter what I do, I try to go forward, it just starts the video again. So it makes the student watch the video. But this is actually a quick trick. You can hit that gray button and it will go forward. Don't tell the
So
kid.
from here, as a best practice, we've had a video, obviously, and there are ways to watch the text of the video as well. But the next section is going over some of the exact same material, but in a different format, reading it. So it's an explanation of what is Tableau in a larger context. And now here we get into the history of Tableau, and specifically the Tableau vivants, which were live action recreations of paintings that were very popular in the 17 and 1800s. But then they have come back into popularity at the turn of the century. All of that's in this information. It's not particularly necessary for the student in accomplishing the task, but it's a nice tie-in to history as well. You will notice too, after you're reading along, it has the same situation where there are key terms that are integral to the student understanding the standards they're supposed to be learning in this arts integration exercise, and they have to fill these in. Again, they're not terribly difficult if you have read through. It is just about stopping and making sure that you are paying attention to the key concepts as you move through.
And as a teacher, I'm going to move forward. All right.
So in
This-
this next section, the student is supposed to actually recreate a tableau vivant with two others. So what this allows the student to do is, this is in the classroom, they can read through this on their own, team up with others, they create their own by doing their own research and finding a painting, and then recreate that and then submit it in for the teacher to assess.
Again.
Now from here, it talks about how to make physical gestures that embody the sentiment or ideas behind a painting. In this particular case, though, it's talking about the psychological gesture set up by Michael Chekhov that is trying to embody the whole attempt of an actor to embody the sentiment of a text. So what we're doing, obviously, is making the bridge from, hey, we're just recreating a painting as it exists, to try to recreate the actual emotional state of a painting or the message of a story, because as we move on in this process, we're going to do the same process, but for a text rather than a painting. So this is the bridge activity explaining what a psychological gesture is, how actors use that, and how it can be applied to stories, paintings, and all of this was actually briefly mentioned in that video before they got to this portion as well. From here, they will practice under the trick, as it were, and look at ways to create a psychological gesture. So this activity, they're supposed to choose specific lines. Now, these are actually opening lines as suggestions for writing a text, but what they're going to do is come up with an individual psychological gesture that embodies the sentiment of these texts. Now, they're pretty open-ended, so the opportunity for creativity here is pretty large, but the student will have to make their own interpretation, which is a nice thing to have them do before they're working together as a group. And that would also be submitted, and the teacher would approve it.
And it says that you're going to take a picture of each pose. And that's what's one of the cool things is you can take a picture with, and they can submit pictures for answers. Is this a constructive response?
Yeah, so this one says after selecting the psychological gesture statue, you'll use it in a manner that's in tune with psychological choices of your pose. How did the body inform the vocal choices? So if you say the line after you've chosen the pose, it will affect the way in which you speak it. So while this is labeled, actually, I noticed earlier, labeled as grade 6, but also this is a 7th grade standards, you can scale this up or down for any grade level. And really getting into the psychological gesture here and the details of how the body is affecting the voice, this is absolutely a high school level exercise. In fact, I've seen colleges do this particular exercise. So we can scale it up and down as necessary for the age group. But yes, this is a response that you would simply write in the effect that it had on your practicing before you get into the larger activity later on.
And I'm going to just do this really quick because this is one of my favorite features of Velocity is the ability to have AI do the grading for you as a teacher. So even as a student, if I said, I wish I knew the answer, I'm going to check my response. And it said I got 12 stars, but it says my teacher can go back later and change my score. And it's even telling me, are you sure you want to submit that? Because the AI embedded knows that I do not have the correct answer. As a student, I could edit it, go back and change it, and I could submit it later. And look, it gave me stars. I can just tell you when I was an art teacher and I taught art for almost 27 years, I might have 3 classes of 40 students, and I couldn't take a constructed response and give that out to 120 students and have it graded immediately. And because that's one of the cognitive principles that it's built upon, students can get the correct answer right away, even on a constructive response, and get feedback, immediate feedback, so that they start associating with the correct information. And you, as an educator, feel comfortable giving a richer question of like an open-ended constructed response versus just having a thumbs up or a thumbs down. It could even just be like a ticket out the door some days. All right. Shall we go back and talk a little bit about how to get this collection?
Yeah, I would
Or you wanna
mention
go
that where
for it?
this goes from here is it actually pulls up a poem, and the students learn about a Native American poet who wrote The Call of the Wild here, and they will go over how to analyze the poem, and they'll use this same sort of back and forth with Velocity. And then ultimately what happens is the students will create a series of tableau movements, a psychological gesture that embody each of the stanzas in the poem. So you really are teaching both the idea of the tableau and ultimately how to act and include your body and voice with the skills necessary for poetry interpretation. So you really are teaching both together, which is a necessary part of arts integration, and Velocity is an excellent tool to put both those things together with fidelity.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I love how you can bring literacy and the arts together through this. So we'll go back over here because we want you to be able to get your hands on this collection. And so from this point forward, it's going to be interactive. It's best to use a laptop as your device. You can do it on a tablet, you can do it on a phone, but really it is much works better for you on it in a laptop. So as we talked about, you'll need to sign in through your district's SLS to sign in. I have seen it in Infinite Campus when you go in, for example, if that would be your learning management system from your district, you'll find usually a button that says Godot or SLDS. You click on it and you'll see Georgia Connects preview. You click on the preview and you're going to see Georgia Connects. And I apologize, we highlighted the wrong one. Once you're here, you want to go to Inspire. And so this is the Creating Velocity activities. That's a subscription code, but I'm going to give you a few directions so that we can get this into my content collections. So when you're in Inspire, you want to go to the 4th tab over. This is My Content Collections, and click on that tab. And then you hit subscribe. It's this button at the bottom. And then you'll want to enter all in caps PXZCP and check the code. And once you have done that, you will have creating velocity activities within your own My Content collections. And your subscription will give you access to all of the resources that we're working with you today. Just an overview of Velocity. This is from the team here at Godot. It does even include this PowerPoint, a version of this PowerPoint in there. This is Learn More About Velocity. It has a user guide and some videos from the developer of the Inspire platform. You'll find example velocity activities, and that's what we've been showing you. The velocity activities from the social studies activities and the fine arts activities are there. There are step-by-step directions how you can use the templates that are below, and also even a step-by-step direction to help you create your own. And then these are velocity templates, and they're a really good way to just kind of follow along what's been done before, so you learn how to create your own velocity activities. So from this point forward, we're going to be interactive. So it's been built to be beginner, intermediate, or advanced. So some people just like to do exactly what we're doing on screen. Other people would like to go on their own a little bit ahead. So this guide will follow what we are doing step by step here. So that's why it's intermediate, and then advanced is completely different. If you are somebody who likes to just go ahead and do your own thing, you can pull up this document and you can start building on your own following those directions. Did I cover everything we need? Get it?
Yeah, I think that's pretty clear.
All right. So, and I'll just go back to My Content collections. This should be this kind of teal colored creating velocity activities that you now have access to. And we're going to go to velocity templates. So this is a step-by-step guide for these directions here. So this collection is something I've shared with you, Paul and I have shared with you. You have to put this into a place where you can play with it on your own. And within My Content collections, you have My Content Sandbox. And it's just like when you were a kid, that's where you went to play. As you are an adult here in Inspire, that's where you're going to be able to take content and play with it on your own. So we're going to follow these directions to get that into your sandbox. And you have to do this for each template. So you'll open up Creating Velocity Activities, click on a template. You will see 4 blue squares, and it says use this activity and copy for your use. Hit OK. Now I'm going to close the activity. This one is still located in the subscription collection. And now I want to either I can click on the building blocks for My Content collection, or you'll notice my sandbox is up here on this bar as well too. I can click on either. And I'm going to click directly on My Content Sandbox. And I'm playing with a velocity student activity. If I had a lesson plan, I would click on lesson that I got from somewhere else within Inspire or other resources. But today we are working with velocity. And you'll see you have a folder here, velocity student activities you created from other collections. And then you find the one that has been copied into your sandbox. So this is the one I copied from the collection. And now you want to edit the activity. And you can learn how to use that template. And we're going to walk you through those steps. But I thought it was important that you knew you can't just use them here in the Creating Velocity activities. You actually have to take them to My Content Sandbox. So once again, that's where the step-by-step directions for that is. And I also have written directions for you as well. So we're going to start with the vocabulary flashcards. And because it's my collection, I don't have that little rectangle here. So you would click on the one over here in the lower right. So I'll just go to, just like you will have to do, My Content Sandbox. Click on Velocity Activities and find the vocabulary flashcards. Now you want to edit the activity. So these are just really quick flashcards that you could create. They're great for building fluency with your students on terms that you want them to learn. All of these templates came from Godot Inspire from our course content collections. This one came from Art History Content 1. And if you click on that link, it would take you to that. And then this link is guided directions. So if you want later, you can go back and do these steps, but this is step by step of what I'm about to do with you here, because we're just going to recreate what's here for you and help you make your own. So you'll see what it's like. And then that way you'll know how to go and make your own flashcards, which would be a great way to get kids started at the beginning of the year and get them used to using Velocity. So we're just going to copy the terms and just recreate what's here. You'll notice I've got a blue add another exercise, and now I want to add a student interaction. So there's 3 different types. There's 3 different kinds, and then there's more options within. And we're going to click on additional options and click flashcards. And it's pretty easy. I'm going to add a term and then drop in that term that I copied from above. And since we are just learning today, we're going to copy this. But all of this information did come from Art History 1 from that link that I had up there.
Yeah, I will say it's really easy to go ahead and just pull from the existing lesson plans in Inspire and do exactly this copy and paste over.
Yes, it makes it so much easier. We want to save people time. Sometimes too, when you come over, you'll notice I had to reformat. When you copy and paste things in, it's just something to remember. If you wanted to, you could add a sentence here. This is just an option if you wanted to put it in context of a sentence. Some students learn that way. I know I do. All right. And now I'm going to make this one. This is going to be a 1-point perspective card. You'll notice it's got terms, but it also has an image. Associating words and images is such a great way for students to learn. So I'm just going to save this to my laptop so that I can use it. When I get to that part, I'll copy the term, add a term here, go back up and copy that text. And this time I'm going to insert an image. You'll notice that I can add an image here. I could add a hyperlink if I wanted to. I can insert a video. YouTube videos are really easy to insert into Velocity activities. And then this is an equation. So if you were a math or a science teacher, we actually have a way for you to insert equations in here as well. And there's lots of different symbols for those that teach these things, not for the art teacher here, but even through chemistry. So I just wanted to give you a quick view of that, and I will put our 1-point perspective drawing. It even allows me to select how big or small I want that image to be. So I went with large. I'll save changes on this card, and I'm done editing. And this is what's really nice. Whenever you see the glasses, it'll give you a student preview. And so now we can see the 2 cards that we've made. And there you go. And notice it's even going to enter a term that matches the definition. So it even helps the kids keep those, just really work on getting those terms, help them with those terms, learning the terms. All right. So that was just a really quick way to make flashcards. And that's a really simple one, good for the beginning of the school year. And I'm going to close this activity. And then I'll go back to creating Velocity activities. And we're going to make, let's do an image labeling. This came from Social Studies Grade 3, Unit 2. I'm going to show you how to do this part. So don't forget, you have to copy and put this into your sandbox, and it would be in this area here. I've already done that, so I'll open up my content sandbox and click on the template and edit the activity. So remember, this does give you the link to where I found that in the course content collection. And then this would be guided directions for later. But we're going to take an image, which is a great way for kids to learn to associate information with an image. And we're going to set labels on it and then show you how to make multiple choice questions on the labels. So the first thing I'll do is save this image because I know I'm going to need this map for later. And I'll copy this text. And I'm going to show you that there are two different ways that you can add something. So if I wanted this to be directly under that map, I could click add a student interaction, this green button right here. If I wanted to create exercise sections the way that Paul's really nice unit was set up, you notice how he had little sections? That's what our blue button is here for. And now I'll click add a student interaction. For this one, I'm going to do free form text or images. Now I've already copied my text and I'll put that there. And I went ahead and got the map. So I'll upload my map. Right, and there is my map. So we want to recreate what's up here. So you'll notice I've got letters A through F. If I just have my cursor here and click insert label, it's going to put it in the text. That's not where I want my label. I want my label to actually be on the map. So I've got an A. And I'm not going to worry about them being out of order yet. And then I'll do that one. So, and what's really nice about the labels, you can always go back and change them. So I think we got C, so I'll make this one D. And got lots of D's and C's. And you can make a label anything. So if I wanted to even make it question marks, I can, because I couldn't remember exactly which one I needed to change it to. So there you go. All right. So according to the map up here, we want to do Mississippi River is up here. C was St. Lawrence. And we're not going to do all of them, just a few to kind of get you started. We'll do the Rio Grande down here. D is the Ohio. And we'll just make question marks Colorado. Wait, it's E. Okay. And Hudson River. I'll put you over here. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say done editing so you can see what it looks like, and I'll hit the glasses. So right now I just have things labeled. If I wanted to, I could make text underneath it and say A is Mississippi or B is, and put that within there for the students. But I want them to be able to try and answer on the map. So we'll go into edit mode. And this time when I click on the map, I'm going to choose multiple choice blank and enter in a couple of rivers. And of course, I have the longest river to enter. All right. And then it shuffles for each student, which is great. And all I need to do now is just put it directly underneath the A. And so I'm going to show you how to do that one more time, and then we'll look at what it looks like. So I click on the map. Remember, that's always important. And now I'm just going to enter my choices. And I think we had the Ohio River already on there. I like the short ones. And one more choice, Hudson River. And save edits. And then we'll put it here. I'm going to click done editing, and let's see what it looks like. Can go Mississippi. And Let's do wrong answer. Oh, but it gives me the right answer immediately, creating the associations with correct information. All right. So we've kind of gifted you within Inspire this nice collection, and there are many more activities. There are 2 more templates that you can do. These 4 here have these step-by-step directions. The ones that are down here that say more, these came from our developer and are just different types of activities. I would encourage you to do the same. Open up a template and start learning how to do that yourself. Just like we've gone through here, so you can learn how to do an interactive reading, make an interactive multiple choice, and you have the guided directions here. Because, I know, like our students, I know I learn by doing. It's just a great way to do that. There's also these step-by-step directions here with downloadable PDF files, guided tutorials, lots of different things that you can do to learn more about Velocity on your own. You can connect with us through community. We do have digital media and literacy, our own little group. We'd love to have you there. There is also an Inspire and a Velocity group where you can find out about updates that are coming from Inspire and Velocity. And I think Paul has lots he can tell you about community for the fine arts.
Yes, the community is also a place where we have our professional learning community videos for all areas of the fine arts. And we now have a collection of up to 3 years of special videos brought to you by Georgia teachers who have information about everything from how to set up your classroom to favorite lesson plans to best practices. And it really is a phenomenal little community. You can get to those by signing up for those particular groups or subgroups if you want to have access to those. Community is also the place where you would go if you wanted to figure out which types of webinars you might want to participate in, or even signing up for in-person trainings. So community, if you're not already a member, it's becoming increasingly a big place to get information from Godot and actually have direct interaction with others. So please sign up for community if you've not already.
Awesome. So just kind of sum up what we've done today. Hopefully we've given you an idea of what is Velocity. Paul showed you a great way that you can do a full lesson plan in Velocity, which is a great idea for some students. You always have a student in the class who wants to go ahead on their own, and the Velocity activity allows you to do that. Or you can create little short Velocity activities that are also great. We helped you create your own. You've even got ways that you can learn more from our collection that we shared, and we would love for you to join us on community. And hopefully you'll take some time and complete this workshop survey. Stars are great to give your presenters. And we hope that you'll connect with us. These are all our social media for digital media and literacy. And
then this is our link tree as well for fine arts for all that we have to offer here. I would say too, not just on social media, please don't hesitate to just email us directly. That's literally what we're here for, to serve and support. So we will be happy to take any questions you might have as you start this process and help you find ways to accomplish what you need in Velocity.
absolutely. And thank you for joining us today.